The awakening. You wake up with that familiar heaviness, that same pain that has lived beneath your ribs for years. Betrayal, rejection, injustice. It aches with a quiet ringing in your ears. You do with it what society has taught you. You hide it. You bury it under positive affirmations. You pretend it isn't there. But what if everything you thought you knew about pain is a lie? What if you've been holding a diamond in your hands, mistaking it for an ordinary stone? Today, we dismantle the greatest myth. The myth that pain is your enemy, that it's something to be avoided, suppressed, or escaped. We've been conditioned to see it as a sign of weakness, a flaw in our design, something to be ashamed of and carried in secret. This lie is what keeps you trapped. This misunderstanding is the very chain that binds you to your suffering. You've been trying to heal by numbing yourself, to find peace by running from war. But the war is inside you, and the battlefield is your mind. The truth is far more powerful, far more terrifying in its liberation. Pain is not your enemy. It is raw, untamed energy, the purest form of force you possess. It is the unrefined fuel of transformation, waiting for a conscious pilot. It is the fire that can either consume you or forge you. Every sting of humiliation, every pang of loss, every throb of heartache. This is not evidence of your brokenness. This is evidence of your aliveness. This is the proof that you care, that you engaged, that you risked. The dead feel no pain. Your pain is the signature of your engagement with life. We have been taught to be pharmacists of our own souls, constantly seeking to anesthetize our discomfort. But in doing so, we have turned away from our greatest teacher, our most brutal and honest ally. We have been trying to silence the very signal that is trying to guide us home. The pain you carry is not a burden. It is potential. It is condensed life force that you have not yet learned to harness. It is the concentrated energy of every unlived moment, every unspoken truth, every boundary you failed to set, every yes you said when your soul screamed no. This is not spiritual bypassing. This is not about finding a silver lining. This is about recognizing the fundamental nature of the material you are working with. You are sitting on a throne of power, begging for scraps of comfort. You are a king who has forgotten his crown, mistaking it for a weight upon his head. The awakening begins here. The realization that you have been looking at the map upside down. The path forward is not away from the pain, but directly through its core. The way out is in. The healing is in the feeling. The power is in the acceptance of the very thing you have spent a lifetime resisting. Your pain is not a mistake. It is a message. And today, you will learn its language. You will stop being its victim and become its student. You will cease being its prisoner and become its alchemist. This is the end of running. This is the beginning of understanding. This is the moment you realize the diamond was in your hands all along. The neurology of pain. First insight, pain as fuel. Every unshed tear is energy. Your body produces it in excess. Remember that moment of rejection. Your body tensed. Your heart raced. This isn't weakness. This is an engine running at full capacity. Second insight, the chemistry of impact. Your brain operates differently during pain. It releases adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, ancient chemical compounds that made your ancestors faster, stronger, sharper. You simply haven't learned to direct this cocktail. But let's go deeper. Let's truly understand the machinery of your suffering. Because to master something, you must first understand its nature. That moment of impact, the betrayal, the failure, the humiliation, your nervous system doesn't distinguish between emotional and physical threat. The same alarm bells ring. The amygdala, your brain's ancient sentinel, screams danger. It hijacks your prefrontal cortex, the seat of reason, plunging you into pure, instinctual reaction. This is the primal cocktail. Adrenaline floods your system, preparing your muscles for fight or flight. Your heart pounds, not to torment you, but to pump oxygen-rich blood to your limbs. Noradrenaline sharpens your focus to a laser point. narrowing your world to the source of the threat. Cortisol, the stress hormone, mobilizes energy reserves, priming your body for sustained action. You are, in that moment, biochemically supercharged. You are a weapon loaded and aimed. But you have no target. There is no saber-toothed tiger to fight, no rival tribe to flee. So this immense, evolutionary power has nowhere to go. It turns inward. It becomes the tremble in your hands, the tightness in your chest, the restless agony that has no outlet. The energy meant to save your life now corrodes you from the inside. This is the critical misunderstanding. You feel this biochemical surge and interpret it as a sign of breaking. You are not breaking. You are being activated. Your body is giving you the resources for a monumental response, and you, conditioned by a world that preaches comfort, try to suppress them. You attempt to meditate the adrenaline away, to breathe through the cortisol, to calm the noradrenaline. You are trying to disarm a warrior without giving him a battle. The unshed tear is indeed potential energy. It is the physiological residue of an unfought battle, of a flight that was never taken. It is kinetic force trapped in a state of suspension. Your body completed 90% of the stress response cycle. It prepared for action. But you halted the final, crucial 10%, the action itself, the completion, the release. So this potent energy remains, circulating in your system, looking for a resolution. It becomes chronic anxiety. It becomes a hair-trigger temper. It becomes a low hum of depressive fatigue. You are living with the aftermath of 1,000 aborted missions. The pathway to weaponizing your pain begins here, in this neurobiological truth. You must learn to complete the cycle. You must give this primal energy a new direction, a conscious outlet. The adrenaline that makes your hands shake can be channeled into the relentless pursuit of a goal. The noradrenaline that creates obsessive, negative loops can be redirected into hyperfocus on a complex problem. The cortisol, mobilizing your energy, can fuel a long, disciplined effort where others would tire. The chemistry of the blow is not your curse. It is your latent potential. The same neurochemicals that create the agony of PTSD in a soldier are the ones that create the heightened awareness and resilience of a special forces operator. The difference is not the chemistry. It is the context, the meaning, and the direction. Your brain has not failed you. It has given you the exact tools your ancestors used to survive ice ages and predators. It is a brutal, efficient, and powerful system. You are sitting inside a race car, revving the engine, convinced the noise and the vibration mean it's about to explode. You haven't yet learned that the vehicle is designed for this, and that it's waiting for you to take the wheel, to put it in gear, and to direct its immense power toward a destination of your own choosing. The fuel is not the problem. The problem is the driver who mistakes the roar of the engine for the sound of his own destruction. The transformation of suffering. Third insight, pain as your compass. It is not a random punishment or a meaningless burden. Pain is the most honest feedback system you possess. It points directly toward what you truly value, what you deeply care about, and where your boundaries have been crossed. You feel no significant pain from things that are inconsequential to you. The sting of betrayal only exists because you value trust. The agony of rejection only lands because you crave connection and acceptance. The frustration of failure only burns because you have ambition and desire for achievement. When you feel pain, you are receiving a crucial data point about your own soul. Stop trying to silence the signal. Instead, learn to decode it. Ask, what does this pain tell me about what I truly value? What boundary must I reinforce? What desire is so important that its absence causes this ache? Your pain is not your enemy. It is your most trusted guide, pointing you unerringly toward the life you are meant to live. Fourth insight, the forging of confidence. Authentic, unshakable confidence is not born in moments of victory and ease. It is not the product of constant approval or a streak of successes. That is a fragile facade, a castle built on sand that crumbles at the first sign of a storm. True confidence is forged in the fires of failure, disappointment, and repeated no's. Every rejection, every setback, every time you fall short is not a wound that weakens you. It is a strike of the hammer on the hot steel of your spirit. It is the process of tempering. With each impact, the illusions shatter, the unnecessary parts are stripped away, and what remains becomes denser, stronger, and more resilient. A man who has never been told no has a confidence made of glass. A man who has absorbed the impact of 1,000 rejections and still moves forward possesses a confidence made of diamond, forged under immense pressure, unbreakable and brilliant. Fifth insight: pain as your relationship teacher. The wounds you have sustained in your connections with others are not merely scars to be hidden. They are a sophisticated education in human nature. That friend who betrayed you taught you to discern the subtle signs of disloyalty. The partner who took you for granted trained you to recognize the difference between words of love and actions of love. The colleague who undermined you sharpened your ability to sense hidden agendas and unspoken competition. This is not about becoming cynical or building walls. This is about developing profound discernment. The pain of the past becomes an internal radar system, a finely tuned instrument that picks up on the faintest signals of inauthenticity, manipulation, and ill intent. It allows you to see people not for who they pretend to be, but for who they consistently show themselves to be through their actions. It guides you to invest your energy in those who are genuine and to protect your peace from those who are not. Your past suffering becomes the very tool that ensures your future relationships are built on a foundation of truth and mutual respect. The practice of transformation. Overcoming is a habit. The act of moving through pain is not a singular, heroic event. It is a discipline, a repetitive practice that physically rewires the architecture of your brain. With each conscious decision to face discomfort instead of fleeing from it, you are not just being brave. You are performing microsurgery on your own neural circuitry. You are carving new pathways, strengthening the connections that signal, "I can handle this," while allowing the old pathways of panic and avoidance to weaken from disuse. This is neuroplasticity in action. What once triggered a full-scale systemic shutdown, the paralyzing fear of social judgment, the crushing weight of a failed project, gradually downgrades to a manageable feeling of discomfort. Then, with further practice, that discomfort itself becomes a mere signal, a neutral indicator that you are stepping beyond your previous limits. The pain doesn't necessarily disappear, but your relationship to it is fundamentally altered. You are no longer a passive victim of your own nervous system's alarms. You become the architect of its responses, building resilience one conscious choice at a time. The shift in perspective. This is the pivotal turn from victimhood to agency. The question, "Why me?" is a trap. It is a bottomless well of self-pity and powerlessness that leads to a dead end of resentment. It forces you to look backward, searching for blame in the unchangeable past or in the flaws of your own character. The moment you consciously replace it with the question, "What for?" you initiate a profound cognitive revolution. You turn from the past toward the future. You are no longer a passive recipient of misfortune, but an active interpreter of your experience. What is this pain preparing me for? What strength is it forcing me to develop? What clarity is it burning into my vision? What deeper understanding of myself or others is it offering? This reframing does not negate the reality of your suffering, but it robs it of its destructive power and assigns it a constructive purpose. Every pang of loneliness becomes a lesson in self-reliance. Every betrayal becomes a masterclass in discernment. Every failure becomes a precise map of what not to do next. The pain ceases to be a meaningless punishment and becomes a curriculum. Emotional alchemy. This is the practical art of transmutation. It is not about suppressing negative emotions, which only gives them more power in the shadows. It is about acknowledging their raw energy and consciously redirecting it. It is the ultimate recycling of the soul. Bitterness, when left to fester, poisons your outlook and relationships. But when you hold it in the crucible of your awareness and ask, what does this bitterness want to protect me from? You can distill it into a powerful, clear-eyed resolve. A firm decision to never again tolerate certain behaviors, to set stronger boundaries, to build a life so authentic that bitterness finds no home within it. Fear, in its raw state, is paralyzing. But when you engage with it, question it, and respect its intention to keep you safe, you can refine it into a sharp, intelligent caution, a heightened awareness that allows you to navigate risks wisely without being ruled by them. Anger is a volatile, explosive force that can destroy you from the inside out. But when you harness its immense thermal energy, you can channel it into the unwavering fuel for action. It becomes the propulsive force that says, enough, and drives you to change your circumstances, to speak your truth, to fight for what is right. This is alchemy. You are no longer at the mercy of your emotional weather. You learn to take the storm itself and use its wind to sail forward. The new reality. Pain is a bridge. Your scars are not flaws to be concealed in shame. They are the most human part of you. They are the testament that you have lived, that you have felt, that you have engaged with life deeply enough to be marked by it. In a world obsessed with curated perfection, your authentic scars, the ones born from loss, from failure, from heartbreak, are a rare and powerful currency of connection. They make you relatable. They make you real. People can sense when someone has passed through the fire. There is a quiet depth in their eyes, a lack of pretense in their presence, a resilience in their posture that cannot be faked. When you stop hiding your healed wounds, you become a beacon for others who are still navigating their own darkness. Your journey through pain becomes a bridge, allowing others to feel less alone in their struggle. It is through your broken places that the light within you becomes visible to others, and through theirs, that you see your own humanity reflected. This shared understanding, this silent recognition of battles fought and survived, forms the foundation for the most profound and genuine relationships you will ever know. Now you know. This knowledge is the final key that unlocks a new existence. Pain is not merely something that happens to you, a random, malicious act of the universe. That is the old paradigm, the prison of passivity you have just walked out of. The fundamental truth you must now embody is this: pain is a raw material. It is neutral in its potential. Its ultimate meaning, its final purpose, is not determined by its origin, but by what you choose to do with it. This is the moment of your greatest power, the power of interpretation and application. You stand at a crossroads you now recognize has always been there. You have two clear, distinct paths before you. The first path is the one you know well. It is the path of the anchor. On this path, you continue to carry your pain as dead weight. You let it define your identity as a victim of circumstance. You polish it into a story of grievance you tell yourself and others, a story that justifies inaction, bitterness, and a small life. You allow it to drag you down into the depths of what could have been and why me, forever moored to the seafloor of your past suffering. This pain as anchor provides a strange, perverse comfort, the comfort of familiarity, the comfort of having an excuse for not sailing into the uncertain, open ocean of your potential. The second path is the one you have been training for. It is the path of fuel. On this path, you acknowledge the same pain, but you consciously, deliberately process it in the internal refinery of your spirit. You take the intense heat of your anger and you convert it into the thrust for propulsion. You take the cold void of your grief and you use it as the space to plant new seeds of purpose. You take the sharp edges of your betrayal and you use them to carve away your naivety, sculpting a wiser, more discerning version of yourself. This pain as fuel does not weigh you down, it ignites you. It provides the thermal energy for change, the power for ascent, the momentum to travel farther than you ever could have on the bland diet of an untroubled life. From this day forward, you possess this choice in every moment of suffering. The awareness itself is the transformation. You are no longer a passive prisoner to the events of your life, a leaf blown by the winds of fortune and misfortune. You have seized the controls. You are the alchemist of your own soul. You have entered the laboratory of your consciousness, and you now hold the formula for transmutation. You have learned to take the base lead of trauma, loss, and fear, and, through the profound process of mindful suffering, turn it into the gold of wisdom, resilience, and profound strength. The war is over. The struggle for a pain-free life was a battle that could never be won, for it was a battle against the fundamental texture of human existence. You have laid down your arms against reality itself, and in that surrender, you have won a greater victory. Pain is no longer your master, your persecutor, your jailer. It has been demoted from tyrant to tool. It is now your weapon, a weapon not for harming others, but for cutting through your own illusions. A weapon not for building walls, but for breaking down the internal barriers that held you back. A weapon you now carry not with dread, but with the steady hands of a master craftsman who knows how to use its edge to shape a life of meaning, depth, and unshakable power. This is your new reality. Step into it, and do not look back.